All right. Hello, Sooner Nation. Like I've said many times, if you can only hear some of the stuff that I said before we get on the pod, it's maybe I should start filming some of it, but I think I end it by telling Goss, I'm like, all right, let's get some of this stuff on tape at least. So, I mean, we pretty much
we don't want to waste any gold.
Well, I think the problem is like I forget what I talked about before, and then I'm like, I don't want to re-mention it again, even though we didn't record it. But we're going to Knoxville. It was a game that I was been worried about, and I really am worried about it now, seeing that we're coming off a loss against Ole Miss. So I don't know. What's your thoughts, man?
Well, I mean, okay, it kind of just, and I forget exactly who posted it, but you know, it's like, okay, it's now the time of the week that Oklahoma goes from firing everyone to convincing itself it's going to win this weekend too. You know, so I think it was Eddie maybe who shared that, but yeah, you know, I mean, look, if you look back at our preview pod and when we went through going game by game, this was a game I picked for us to lose. Even though at the time I didn't think Joey Aguilar was going to be as good of a quarterback as what he has made himself into, but at the same time, I mean, there's going to be over 100,000 people there, dressed in black, ready to kick our butt. And if you don't think that hype still has some bitterness, I'll tell you who's got double bitterness, and that's the guy setting up above hype, Seth Luttrell. There's lots of bitterness on that Tennessee side, and they would love to continue to derail this Oklahoma football team.
Why did I not know Landry Jones coached at Tennessee?
Yeah. Joey Halsey.
I mean, so we pretty much, if you play for OU, you got a job for Tennessee. So
exactly.
So maybe DeMarco.
So, I mean,
get ready.
Look, yeah. Well, we wish.
Yeah.
Have you ever met a Mr. Joe John Finley?
No, he's going to LSU with Bauer Sharp.
Yeah,
that's where he's going.
But you know, going back to how do I feel? I mean, look, it's really disappointing. I'm still mad about losing the Ole Miss game, and you know, I've read certain things of like, well, you know, the Texas game's a worse loss than the Ole Miss game, and it's like, no, it's not. That's Texas, and we want to beat Texas. That's a big rivalry game. Texas's back was up against the wall. They responded and played well and won. Mm-hmm. And that's the position that we're in going to Tennessee. If we want to have any chance to be in college football playoff contention, we've got to go win our next 4 games. At least we've got to go win 3 of the next 4. A close loss at Alabama and 3 wins. Maybe we're in the discussion, but to truly be in that, we've got to win 4. And if Brent wants to keep his job, I think he's got to go win at least 2 of these next 4. And, you know, of the 4, I think we can all agree that the at Alabama game is the hardest. And, you know, while the other 2 are at home, we know how this fan base reacts to negativity. We go into these, if we lose these next 2 games and we're rolling back into, you know, those last 2 games, needing those wins, you know, hey, it's going to be rough.
Yes,
and that's just where things are.
We just made it a lot harder for ourselves. Like the ability to have like a let up is gone now. If you want to play in the playoffs, because that's
no margin for error at this point. There's not,
and it's frustrating because I feel like this season has set up for us to make a run. It's just I think that's why we're so frustrated about the Ole Miss game, is because everything was set up for us. All we had to do is win at home.
Yeah,
and we didn't. You know, and you look at the Texas game. The Texas game is a Texas game. It is what it is. Like, you don't show up for that game, you're going to get your butts beat. There was no reason for us not. I mean, to me, that was a play-in game for the playoffs, the Ole Miss game. And we're in another play-in game. This is
this is an elimination game.
Yeah.
Excellent, Jeremy. That's exactly the point I was going to make.
It's like a double elimination. SEC is like a double elimination tournament. It's like they were talking. I forgot what pod I was listening to, and I don't really care because everybody should be listening to ours, so I'm not giving anybody more props anymore. But they said if you win 10 games in the SEC, wouldn't you assume that you're in, but there's so many good teams around. Like SEC should have 6 teams in the playoffs this season.
Right.
And Big Ten's only going to have 3, I would say.
And while I do agree with that, I think the notion that we get in at 9-3 is probably pretty false at this point, because we're not going to get in at 9-3, because losing that game to Ole Miss takes away that ability. If you win that game, then you've got, even if Ole Miss had a better record than us, we own the quote unquote tiebreaker with that, and we've lost that. But as Jim Mora once says, playoffs, this team, playoffs, that's a win another game. And that's kind of where we are with this. So let's kind of get into the nuts and bolts of this game, Jeremy. Then we'll kind of talk a little big picture again here at the end. But I mean, okay, this isn't full sunshine pumping, but I'm going to give you some reasons for optimism here.
Well, there goes our viewers.
Yeah.
The only time we ever get viewers is negativity. So you need to start throwing this team under the bus, okay?
Yeah. Right.
We got
Here's
bills to pay, for crying out loud. So.
In the games that Tennessee has played against SEC teams or SEC teams, they've given up 44, they've given up 34, they've given up 31, they've given up 37, and they've given up 34. Okay, so the least amount of points they've given up in an SEC game is 31. Okay, that's the least they've given up. I think this Tennessee offense is very similarly good to Ole Miss. Now, I think Trinidad Chambliss is a better scrambler of the football, okay, a better improv man with his feet than Tennessee's quarterback is, Joey Aguilar is. To me, the biggest issue we had, now we gave up some stuff downfield, we do that. But where we got in trouble against Arch and against Trinidad Chambliss is when those quarterbacks are able to break contain and make a play with their feet. Now, with Chambliss, it was more truly with his feet. With Arch, it was more rolling out, buying some time, and dinking and dunking the football down. My hope is that our defense, without Aguilar having that ability, is able to bottle that down. And Brent Venables, you're built on defense, blah, 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 blah. We've got to find a way to hold this team to less than 30 points or maybe less than 35 points. If we can go do that, we probably go win the football game. Unless John Mateer still wants to be an arsonist.
Yeah. Well, and I'll have a little rant about John Mateer because I've watched a lot of film on this game last week, and it's just like if you can take anything away from watching last week's game, is I do feel better about Ben Arbuckle.
Agreed.
Yeah, but
Ben Arbuckle just made a few very loud, ill-timed mistakes with play calling.
I mean, not running the ball, that was his major issue. But really, I look at it this way. Last week, do you remember when we were talking about Ole Miss's defense? We were like, their defense isn't that good. And now, OU should be – I'm not falling in that trap this week. Their secondary is piss poor, which it should be because they lost an All-American to a torn ACL. So, I mean, that should be
here's the deal.
I mean,
Ole Miss's defense wasn't good. They weren't good.
No. And
that's not a good defense.
And that goes – let me go into my first part of my John Mateer rant. John Mateer – I think we crowned him a little too quick. I know that's a Denny Green.
Has the vision of Ronnie Millsap?
Yeah. But I just
Stevie Wonder?
I looked at it as like, I think we were so down on a quarterback play last year that all we needed is some good stuff to happen. And we were just like, John Mateer, thank God we finally got a quarterback. He did play good, but I'm not saying it's an injury that is stopping him from reading the coverage, but it's confidence. The dude needs some good stuff to happen. And we got to get those easy throws.
And that's the scary part, right? I mean, if you're not confident and you roll into, the Tennessee atmosphere on Saturday night, with 109,000 people screaming and yelling at you in a blackout, it's probably not a great place to feel the warm and fuzzies. But if this guy truly has that dog in him or, that whatever, hopefully this brings it out. But, this Tennessee defense, I mean, I've watched, unfortunately, and it's just kind of worked out this way. I've watched quite a bit of Kentucky this year. I'm not really sure why, they've played. Yeah, exactly. They've kind of played
you
like
got
the
a
late
lot of
game.
Time on your hands. You need more kids than one. Okay. There, I said it.
Easy there. Sound like Aaron's mom. Anyway,
I agree.
I know. That being said, Tennessee's quarterback is not good. I mean, I'm sorry. Kentucky's quarterback is not good. Okay. It's a freshman kid. He's got a little bit of talent, but I mean, he's not good. Okay. They played last week without Seth McGowan. Seth McGowan, former convicted felon who used to play for OU, is Kentucky's best player offensively. He didn't play last week, and they still gave up that many yards. This cat threw for over 300 through 5 touchdowns against this Tennessee team.
And props to Seth McGowan, though. Like, that dude went through some crap, but I always want to give props to guys that can come back, go through that adversity, and land on their feet. I mean, Trajan Bridges, he tried, but you look at Seth McGowan, I mean, the dude, right. I mean, he's Division I SEC team, and he's the best player on Kentucky. I know it's like being the I'm not going to say that because that's probably offensive to a lot of people, but that said, it's like
better than Jackson Arnold, not much of a compliment.
Yeah. Jackson Arnold, who's probably not going to be starting now anymore, but that's neither here nor there. But I do want to give props to him because I feel like I meant to say that the other day because I saw Seth McGowan. I'm like, is that the Seth McGowan that I know? And it sure the hell was. So, best player in Kentucky. Okay, proceed.
But my point being is this, okay? There's no reason we shouldn't be able to go move the football. There's not. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, it's kind of one of those things. Jeremy and I have probably been more critical of Joe John than any of our coaches on our staff. Okay. Jeremy and I mean, we know if we're taking a vote, and right here, Jeremy and I are both voting for Joe John to no longer work at the University of Oklahoma. And I think a lot of people have taken out a lot of frustration with DeMarco, justifiably. I think there's been quite a bit of frustration with Bill Bedenbaugh, justifiably. But I think the two people who probably go under the radar and through a lot of our issues is Emmett Jones. And it sounds great that we got a receiver, flip the kid from Penn State. Maybe we're going to flip the kid from Wisconsin, whatever. Maybe we're, getting some people in 2026. But the reason we don't have anybody is we lost out on every recruit we tried to go get last year. So we're having to recover a little bit here. But I haven't been impressed, Emmett Jones. And somehow Elijah Thomas is the fastest man on the field. Now, he's gotten some penalties and some dumb butt penalties on our.
Well, it's almost like he's a true freshman or something.
But, the fact that we threw him in there the other day in the Hail Mary play of like, okay, biggest play of the year, need a miracle. Okay, let's put our best athlete out there. How about we try that on like first, second, or third down at some point too? But anyway, I have issues with you, Emmett Jones. I think you need to be better at your job. And I would love to see some more. Now, some of it, you can blame Arbuckle. I don't know, because it's kind of like people, who do you blame, DeMarco or Arbuckle on the running back rotation? I think Emmett just deserves the same heat as DeMarco. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Well, now, I look at it this way with DeMarco. Like, Blaylock was a hot hand against South Carolina, who got the most carries.
Yeah,
Blaylock.
Yeah.
Who was a hot hand against Ole Miss? Xavier Robinson. Who got the most carries?
John Mateer.
Oh, well, sorry. Yeah, okay, yeah, he did, but
sorry.
Never mind. Never mind. Okay, but I'm back on the Arbuckle train. Okay, yeah. Arbuckle sucks. Okay, never mind. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
No, but here's one thing that I noticed that I really liked with Arbuckle doing against South Carolina. Now we have to establish the run early, and we got to be stubborn with it. Is we set South Carolina up like for that Satanga touchdown. Do you remember we kept doing screens, those easy throws for Mateer? Like, he's not going to win a Heisman, so don't worry about going downfield and trying to get him yards. Like, it's over. make easy throws, those little slant routes, those little easy read passes where you get some guys' confidence up, because John Mateer has no confidence playing the game of football right now. And so we can bait Tennessee into some of these big plays where we hit a couple screens, they're trying to bite on it down the field then.
Well, wouldn't you say, Jeremy, like the best version of John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle has been the scripted stuff a lot?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, coming out into a game. I think the scripted stuff has looked really good.
Well, what are usually their first 2 drives are their best drives, because they script out about 30 plays most of the time.
And I mean, and you're making Mateer make less reads at that point. And I do think that's simplified things for him. And that's something I want to give. I think it was Gabe and Teddy talking about it, of giving him the dump down passes, the quick passes to Burks and Satenga and all those things. I'd like to see some quick passes to Kanik, because I think Kanik is good in space.
Yeah.
Would like to see the ball out to X. I thought he did a good job catching the ball there today. I think Blaylock's been fine out of the backfield as well. But the other person that I want to talk about, and I just checked while we were on this, the injury report is, okay, Smitty's cool. Like I get it. Smitty built all this stuff, but like I've heard lots of blame on the medical staff, on different people and that sort of thing, but maybe it's our training system that gets everybody hurt. I don't know. Maybe it is. Okay.
100%.
But all I'm saying is we have to truly evaluate this at the end of the season. And the last person that I want to say is like, and this is a Bill Simmons, Ryan Russillo thing, but like, are we sure Jim Nagy's good?
Well, we can't give Jim Nagy a pass by any means.
I mean, like, because here's the deal, guys. I mean, Jim Nagy stuck his neck out for one person this year, and it's been as big. I mean, it's a bigger bust than Sidney Sweeney. Okay, I mean, it's just. I mean, Jaden Ott thing it couldn't have gone worse, and it's just been obviously really, really, really bad. But let's dive into injury report here just really quick. Good news for us, Gentry and Kobe McKenzie are both on the probable list. I don't think anyone who's ever been on the probable list didn't go ahead and play. Anyone who's ever moved like from one, they went from questionable to probable. Anyone who's ever moved like that, I think they've always played. Logan Howland stayed on questionable. I mean, I don't really care about Javonte Barnes or Taylor Tatum. They're not really going to play anyway. I don't know why they're really even on there. Keontae Lewis.
Like, why are we wasting print on Taylor Tatum?
Please
tell me that.
Like Everett, Sexton, and Taylor. I mean, why are we putting them on there anymore? I mean, like, I do think Derek Simmons will be back at some point, and that could be helpful. But at this point, dude, like, play Foj. Don't waste your time with Simmons or Howland. Play the guy with the higher
build your offensive line with these young guys at this point, because
two very handsome, early middle-aged gentlemen tried to make this point to start. Didn't we say that if we were in charge, we would just throw Fasusi and Foj out there in the beginning because they have the most talent?
Yeah. I think we also said, isn't Sexton going to be hurt?
Yeah, exactly.
And what do you know, Sexton? When we say Gentry Williams is probably going to be on a injury report, and he was. But, hey, also, too, about secondary, Cortland Guillory, I liked what he said about playing on the road, and they're like, it's hostile environment. He said, I'll be honest with you, I like going on the road more than I do playing at home, which that might be a lot of player talk, but I've been very impressed by the kid.
Well, Cortland Guillory, like, has that, call it, I mean, it's a weird expression, but, crap in his neck, whatever you want to call it. I mean, he's got that, like, he's got the demeanor you want a shutdown corner to have. Like, he thinks he's the baddest man. And like David Stone has that nastiness you want your nose tackle to have. And, would I prefer David Stone have had 5 sacks instead of getting into it with Lane? I mean, that's fine, whatever. But, like, you got to have some of that nastiness on defense. And I'm all for it with Guillory and stuff.
Well, and also, I think Lane's one of the best play callers in college football. I'm nothing with Tennessee. Like, to me, I'm like, can Tennessee out scheme Brent Venables? I don't think so. With Lane Kiffin, I wasn't as confident. I think
Well, I
Brent
mean,
Venables could
did
have
you
done a better
see
job. Yeah.
the kind of back and forth Lane had at the press conference with
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up because that nothing pisses me off more than whenever like journalists take something a guy says and takes a little clip it from it and puts it in there like he said that he was the better team. You know what Brent Venables said? I felt like we had the better team. They took out the I felt.
Yes.
I mean, are you serious? And then Lane Kiffin, who's an idiot, he falls right into he's just like, well, you know what? It pisses me off because I can't say anything. He beat us. He beat us 2 years in a row. That's what aggravates me as a freaking OU fan. I'm tired of losing these big games.
Well, but that's kind of the good part about this, right? Like, if Lane does stay at Ole Miss, I hope he leaves. It's Ole Miss is going to be on our deal, and I think Lane's the best coach Ole Miss could possibly have. That kind of does build a little bit of that rivalry there. But that going back to that, Lane did talk about that he had success, not just the last 2 years, but previously as well against Brent Venables systems. Whether even when Lane was at Alabama and they beat Clemson, and then when Lane was at USC and they beat Oklahoma. And we've talked about this. If there was a Sooner cast back before podcasts were a thing, and Jeremy and I hopped on an AM radio and tried to steal a
God help
microphone from Buddy Wattenberger to get on.
Let me check that off my bingo card that I did not expect to be mentioned in my podcast.
To get that off of AM radio.
Didn't we have a Dice Dawson one a while back that I was like, are you serious?
Yes, exactly.
My God, nobody knows these people, these legends.
If Soonercast, let's say, 2011 was out there, it would talk about that OU defense, back when we did play at least a modicum of defense, really struggled against mobile quarterbacks. And again, that was a thing I think that really hurt us with Chambliss, that hurt us a little bit with Arsh. I don't think it's going to hurt us as much this week. I don't.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, maybe he scrambles and hurts us. Maybe Heitz put in a running game. I don't know. But all that being said, this is big. I mean, this is it, guys. You probably get sick of us hearing it's the biggest game of the Brent Venables era, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose this, then you put yourself in a position you really need to win at Alabama next week.
Yeah.
I
mean, well, we got to bye, don't we, before Alabama?
Yeah, but still.
Okay. Yeah.
Your next game, sorry. But we do have a bye.
Yeah, and I just, with Lane Kiffin, sometimes guys just got something. And that's what I feel like Sark's got on Brent Venables. Like, it's just, they got that kind of edge over him right now. But going back to Beatonbow and going back to DeMarco and stuff like that, Beatonbow, I honestly, watching the game, I didn't think our offensive line was that bad. As when I first watched the game, I thought, God dang, we can't get a push from anybody.
And I think, again, Mateer just made some bad decisions, right? I mean, like some bailouts.
That's what it goes back to.
Refusals to step up in the pocket, just poor. I mean, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just a lot of just bad decisions. And that's why I said, do some screens, do some short passes to get him some confidence where you're moving those sticks. Like, if you're refusing to run the ball, do screens, do little slants, then do something to get you good yardage on the first down, because you remember how good our offense looked against South Carolina? We were getting about 4 or 5 yards on first down. That changes your whole demeanor. And I think that changes how Ben Arbuckle calls plays.
Okay.
I mean, he's not a throwing only offensive coordinator in my opinion. He's not Mike Leach by any means.
This is probably a terrible take, but I'm gonna give it.
Okay. If not, it's negative. I don't want to hear it because we've been a little too positive right now, so we're trying to get the views here. So
probably the two cleanest games we've played this year. At Temple, at South Carolina, are two true road games, right? We've played two true road games. And because Cotton Bowl's Cotton Bowl. Maybe this team's better on the road. Who knows? Maybe we are.
Doesn't
make sense.
Yeah,
but
never thought of that.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe I don't know. Maybe because of the extraordinarily negative energy that surrounds our fan base at almost all times, getting the hell away from them may be the best thing to happen. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're going to roll through Neyland Stadium. Maybe we're going to go down to Alabama in a couple of weeks and we're going to come back riding high. Who knows? Or maybe we get our curb stomped and high drops 55 on us. BV looks lost. And then we drop 75 the next week to Alabama because they're ticked off that we beat them last year and knocked them out of the playoffs last year, that we come limping back home to Norman, wondering who in the God's green earth we're going to hire because Florida and LSU and Penn State are going to outbid us for any coach we would want.
I think in saying that, I think that's what's going to keep us from letting go of Brent Venables. I don't think we can get in a bidding war this year. I mean,
well, okay.
So guys, also too, guys, let me get you to this. Do not expect him to make a knee-jerk reaction on letting go of Brent Venables. This crap goes downhill, because to me, if I'm an AD, I put my AD hat on, I'm watching everything going around the college football landscape, and I say to myself, are we going to let go of Brent Venables and go against LSU, Florida, Penn State, schools that are going to spend big money on coaches? And are we a school that wants scraps? Absolutely not. So I just think, I don't honestly think, I'm trying not to sunshine pump, but I think I'm going to have to here. I don't think it's as bad as we all think it is. I've tried to make it, I've tried to be negative. I've tried to look at it. Yes. Am I down on him? Yeah. Am I, when we ask for the score prediction at the end of this pod, am I going to pick OU to win? Hell no, I'm not going to pick him to win. But that said, I just don't. I look at last year. Last year was a dumpster fire. Every time we went out on the field, I thought, we ain't winning this game. I don't have the same feeling. I can't explain it. I just, as we've talked here, I have more confidence going into the game just because I look at a little more things.
Well, okay. Something that probably doesn't get talked about enough, Jeremy, and this is one reason the Ole Miss loss drives me nuts, because I don't think this is just a terrible scheduling game to lose. But never forget how much the SEC screwed us in our scheduling. Never forget that, okay? Because, here's who A&M, okay, who I think Mike Elko is doing a great job. I do. Mm-hmm. I think Mike Elko is doing a really, really good job. I do. But here's who they've played in the SEC so far: Auburn, Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas, and LSU. Okay. Then what they've got left is Missouri, South Carolina, and Texas. Does that sound like ours? It's not. I mean, it's apples and oranges, guys.
Yeah.
And, the fact that we not only had to do this, and then they make us do this back-to-back years instead of what they're doing in the future of kind of harder year, softer year, harder year, softer year. I mean, it's just ridiculous what the SEC did to, because compare that to what got Billy Napier fired at Florida. They go LSU, Texas, Texas A&M. Their first three conference games. Okay. On top of having to play, Georgia later on and Tennessee later on. I mean, that's a very, very, very different thing. It just is. And, the games, and the reason the Ole Miss loss stings so much is Ole Miss has South Carolina, the Citadel, Florida, and Mississippi State left in their schedule. Okay. That's who they have left. Okay. Where after ours, we had Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, and LSU. Those are two totally different things. Now, I say all that to say this. It's a lot of whinging. It's a lot of griping. It's a lot of excuse making. It's a lot of sunshine pumping. And at some point, we have to nut up and go win. And we've nutted up and won some games this year. We have, more so than last year. But we have to, our backs against the wall. You have to go freaking take care of business. You just have to. There's no excuse for it, BV. There's not. Okay. Yeah. You've got to find a way to shut down Josh Heupel's offense. Not completely. They're going to go score some points, but you've got to find a way to keep them one touchdown a quarter. You've got to find a way to do that. 28 points, 31 points, something like that. Offensively, if Kentucky can score that much, we should be able to win, right? Okay, if Arkansas can score that much, if Mississippi State can score that much, we should find a way to go win. We're not asking you to go, score 44 like Georgia did, but we need you to go score 35. We need that to happen because whether we all remember the game, the last time we were at Tennessee, we came back, won in double overtime. The score was 31-24. Okay. We were down 17-0 in that game and fought back and won. Okay. Baker played a terrible first half of football.
I don't know if anybody remembers, we were wanting to bench Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted Trevor Knight back in there. What are we doing? Baker Mayfield.
Obviously, Jeremy and I are saying all of that to say this. This team can win. But, we have to decide which version of Charlie Brown we're going to be with Lucy holding this football.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we going to run up at it and try to do the same crap that we've done? And, we're going to have a penalty that does something bad, or we're going to, all those things that continually shoot ourselves in the stinking foot. Or are we going to turn a page? Are we going to grow up and we're going to go win? Okay. I get it. John Mateer is still a young guy, but grow up, son. You're making a crap ton of money to go win football games at the University of Oklahoma. Yeah. You want, with great power comes great responsibility. I get it. Ben Arbuckle's a young guy, but Brent Venables placed his faith in you to keep his job. This is a game we need to go win. Go win it.
It brings me to 2 points. Yeah, it brings me to 2 points that I was going to mention here before we kind of put a bow on this thing. But Nagy, whenever he came in, everybody was just so high on him. Like, oh, man, look at the guys he's bringing in. And the two big ones that he's brought in, Jade Knott and John Mateer, are not panning out. So that's why I said Jim Nagy can't get a pass on this one. Evaluation. I know he had a big hard on for Jade Knott before, the whole I'm pretty sure Jade Knott wasn't transferring from Cal until Nagy talked to him and brought him to. So is Jade Knott a little pissed off that he made him leave Cal? Probably. That could be some of it. I don't know. We don't know enough. But the next thing I want to mention is we are not going to be a positive fan base until we start seeing results. Until we start seeing all these big games that come up. We got to win some of them. I don't fault these fans for being negative. Hell no. Because when you watch us in every game, we lay an egg that are big games that could put our program to the next echelon. We don't win. That gets more negativity towards it. You can't stop it. So
this is Oklahoma football. We are about championships. We are about winning. We're not about being happy about. Okay, I don't want anyone to stink and say this. This is me being negative. Okay, so this may up our views. This may get us in the logarithm.
Now we're talking.
Maybe it stinking will. Just because I'm sometimes accused of being a sunshine pumper, 8-4 is not acceptable. It's not. This is freaking Oklahoma. It's not. But you know what? 8-4 is better than 75. It's better than 6-6. But it's not acceptable. It's not what we're aiming for. Okay. If we get this and we go 8-4 and BV does keep his job, his ASS better go 11-1 next year, or we're firing his butt. Okay. Yeah. 8-4 is not acceptable. Now, 8-4 may be acceptable improvement. We talked about that before the season started. 8-4, 9-3. We felt like we were going the right direction. You bring everybody back. Instead of spending all that money to fire Brent Venables and spend all that on a buyout, maybe we use that money to go actually spend some money on some freaking playmakers we can have on offense. So we're not wondering, we're upset because Keontez Lewis can't play. Keontez Lewis played for 6 freaking schools and was the third back at Cincinnati at one, the third wide receiver at Cincinnati at some stinking point. We got to go get dudes, okay? We need more dudes, need more dogs. That's what we need, okay? And we've got to find a way to go do that. Now, wouldn't be a preview pod if I didn't give you a little famous alumni. So before we get our prediction, Jeremy, Most famous Tennessee alumni. This is
my doppelganger, Peyton Manning.
Yes. I mean, are we going anybody but Peyton Manning? Okay, let's go. Give me a okay. Let's think back to Tecmo Super Bowl here. Okay. The best defensive player on Tecmo Super Bowl was Lawrence Taylor, who did not go to Tennessee. The second best defensive player on that, Reggie White, the Minister of Defense.
Yeah.
Tennessee guy. Okay.
Albert Hainsworth, who kicked a guy with his cleat.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
That's what he will always be remembered for.
Okay. You know, lots of we're in Tennessee, like what Kenny Chesney, I guess would probably be like, you know, a pretty famous one there.
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of one of those guys. So there's a few famous Tennesseans.
Nate Bargatze, I think he is. He didn't go. He's
a Vanderbilt guy. You know.
Sorry.
Did you go to that show the other day?
No, I didn't. I wanted to though. Okay. I love Nate Bargatze.
Yeah, no, he's a big fan of the reels. You know, because hey, at the Goss family, we don't watch TikTok. We watch TikToks on Instagram Reels like adults.
Well, if you got on TikTok, you would know that I'm pretty big on that. That front, not bragging or nothing. Over 6,000 followers. Just saying. But
hey, speaking of followers, before we give our deal, want to say welcome and thank you to all of our new followers. We're up over 150. We're happy to that. Over 1,200, 1,300 views on our last last pod. So lots of good things there. Continue to subscribe. Now, before we lose subscribers, Jeremy, I picked first last week. And so since we lost, I'll let you pick first this week.
Okay. I was sitting there because I had a score in mind, and then we started talking, and I'm just like,
you're picking us to win.
Don't give me sunshine pumping. Gotta leave it. No, I'm going to stick with, I had Tennessee winning 27-23. Okay. I'm sorry. Like I said before, I have to see it before I can start. Last year, I picked Tennessee to win, and I think I picked them 24-21, and I don't think I was very far off on that. So,
I know. Everyone, drum roll. I'm picking OU. Okay. Picking OU 38-31.
Okay. Goss, I'm just going to say this. If we score 38 points, the sunshine pumping, we'll get probably one view on YouTube. I can put it that way. We scored 38.
Jeremy, our subscribers went down to 5. I'm not sure how that happened.
They're done with this positivity.
Yeah, but those bots I paid for are only subscribers.
When's the last time we ever scored 30? Well, against a Power 5 team.
I'm just telling you, I'm feeling it. It's probably I probably just need to pee. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, it's probably. Hey, speaking of feeling it, what about all the love our college basketball team?
Like, speaking of peeing, I'm like, oh God, where's
speaking
this going?
Speaking of peeing, I'm going right now. Isn't it crazy? Yeah. No, but our college basketball team is getting a lot of love, and I am not falling for it. You cannot make me do this. Whoever, that's not Phil Still, but
whoever that is.
Phil Still, you're not making me do it. Phil Still's like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't do college basketball. But Porter Moser getting preseason SEC Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
You cannot make me. I'm sorry, guys. You want negativity? Wait till college basketball season comes around. I can promise you.
Well, Sister Jean died, so we assume that the angel of Sister Jean is what's going to do. She's always wanted to just be with Porter, so that's what's going to propel us to win. The ghost of Sister Jean is going to lead us.
We're using a dead old woman to give success. Now,
Porter said that he wanted an atmosphere like the Thunder for LNC, and I'd said that, I want Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to have 4 years of eligibility at Oklahoma, too. We'll see which one happens first.
I know. We're complaining about our happiness, and we have one of the best teams. Well, maybe one of the best. Like, people just keep getting hurt for the Thunder. All they do is win. Like, they had us. In the NBA, you have scheduled losses. The other night against the Kings was a scheduled loss for the Thunder. And they were we're going to sit
Russell hit 3 threes in the first quarter. You knew he was lighting up at ill time.
I'm like, thank you, Lord. Thank God. But also, too, How mad do you think people get that AJ Mitchell is just like a dude?
Dude, he's so good. He's so good. It's crazy.
And Thunder are like, oh, it sucks. We got all these players. Who do we?
Oh, but hey, like not just thoughts, but like thoughts and prayers out, dude. Nikola Topic,
man,
testicular cancer, dude. That sucks.
Yeah, that's a bad deal. They thank God, you know, that the doctor's saying that feels like he's going to have a full recovery. Hopefully, they're not giving him the same stuff they gave Lance Armstrong. But that said, neither's. But
I called that Lance Armstrong being dirty a long time earlier. You remember when I hated Lance Armstrong for everyone else did? Everyone else like, ooh, live strong and all this stuff. Called it, hated him.
Yeah, you hated him, and my brother hated Jerry Rice, and there's no other person I've been so confused about. My brother's hated Jerry Rice for many, many years. He said,
and
he's
I said, OU offense scoring 38 points. So hey, who knows? We'll see.
There's a lot of just crap being thrown on against the wall here, but my brother's reference for Jerry Rice, I'm surprised that just got mentioned on this pod because it's been one of the
Buddy Wattenberger in the same pod. So look at us.
Buddy Wattenberger, Leah Ott, Dice Dawson. I mean, for crying out loud, can this Muskogee Hall of Fame get any bigger right now? So, hey guys, subscribe. Sorry, I got thrown off by Buddy Wattenberger. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Keep them coming. We're over 150. We're to, 350 until me and Goss can retire. Follow us on Apple and Spotify. Goss, where you can get us on email.
Soonercast@gmail.com. Don't forget, like Jeremy said, Apple, Spotify as well. We've got good numbers there. Also, certainly, guys, we appreciate you guys. Love the comments. Jeremy does a great job keeping up with that. If you ever want me to comment on there, just call me out. Be like, gosh, you freaking suck. And I'll get on there. I'll get on there and comment. It's fine. It's just that in my line of work, people, like principals aren't the most popular people in the world. So a lot of times I try not to respond to comments. But if you ever want a comment response from me, just call me out. I'd love to. If you're like, Goss, us scoring 38 points, I know you're in Muskogee. You must have found some good stuff somewhere. But I promise you, chemical free here, guys. It's just what I believe. Boomer.
Boomer Center.